Welcome, everybody. It's Angela, your ghost host with the most with Ghost Hunting Beauties. Today, we have an incredible guest here. You probably all know and love her. And if you don't, you should. It is Haley, the Paranormal Princess. Hi.
Hi.
We are so happy to have you here. There's so many opportunities for women in the world of the paranormal to come in. So when we can find as women as beautiful as yourself, talented as yourself, and with a channel that, got me hooked. I'm not going to lie there. I had to subscribe on all my channels just to not miss anything. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the world of the paranormal.
Yeah, first of all, I do want to say I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this. So I started getting into the paranormal as early as me being in my crib.
Wow.
I felt like it sounds strange, I know. I feel like I was more aware of spirits around me than, learning my ABCs, honestly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I knew from a very young age that I could see spirits and I could tell the difference between, a human and a spirit. So I started there and I never grew out of it. A lot of people do, and I just wanted to keep a hold of it. I just felt like it was a part of me. And that turns into us being here today, me teaching paranormal to people who, they're kind of like, well, I let it go, but I want to bring it back into my life, and just doing little stories with my haunted dolls. And then next thing I know, I'm the Paranormal Princess.
Oh, I love it. That was going to be my next question is, how did we get dubbed the Paranormal Princess?
Well, my followers actually gave me that name when I was actually trying to come up with a good name for myself. And I feel like they added two of my personalities. On the weekends, I'm a party performer for princesses, like princess kids party performer.
Wow.
And then, of course, my paranormal work. So they put them together and Paranormal Princess came about.
Oh, I love it. That's perfect. I was going to say because you're so awesome. I figured that it just came naturally. Well, we're so excited to have you here. One of my questions, I've been following your channels and catching up, and there's so much out there in the world of the paranormal. But of course, you are very eye-catching, and then you see the dolls. And then I have a fear of dolls, and I'm learning to get over that. What got you into the paranormal when it crosses into the world of dolls?
Well, that is a very good question. I have always been extremely fascinated with dolls. I even was made fun of in middle school and high school for still loving dolls. And in high school is when I got my very first haunted doll. And I never told anybody that it was haunted just because of those reasons. Yes.
Right.
So when I decided to branch out and really be open about collecting dolls, haunted dolls, people were a lot more accepting than I thought they would be.
Oh, good.
Yes, because I was a little nervous. I held it back for a long time. And there's so many people now who are like, hey, I have 6 haunted dolls now because of you. And I want to keep adding to my collection like you. Yeah. So I have Eloise behind me. She's my oldest haunted doll. She's very fragile. I don't usually take her on investigations or anything.
Right.
But she likes to sit back and observe. So I thought she would like this.
Oh, very cool. But I'm looking into her eyes.
Right. That's what everyone says. They're completely drawn to her eyes. I just want to show people that, you hear of Annabelle and you hear of Chucky. You hear of all these scary haunted dolls, but there's also sweet, calming, and kind ones, which are the ones I'm hoping to always get. I've got a few that are scary, not gonna lie. But I try to find the ones that the spirits who like to inhabit these dolls are the ones that actually want to stay here and not cause torment to people around. So
right. For those who cannot see and who are listening on Spotify, this is a super antique looking, super cool yet spooky doll. And you're right. Her eyes are drawing me in. I find myself leaning back from the microphone. I'm like, she can't harm me. It's okay. It's okay.
Right. No, she won't. I promise.
Right. She's probably calming. I'm working through that. So
Yes, good.
so that is really interesting. That is a really incredible story. Did your parents support your love for the paranormal, or you kept it from them as well?
Um, I feel like my whole family kind of has some spiritual gifts. But my mom was never, she was open to talking about it here and there, but she never really wanted to acknowledge stuff too much.
Right.
If I told her, hey, I followed a spirit down into the basement, which has happened,
Oh,
she would believe me. Yeah, it's stuff she would
right.
believe. I would come to her with all these crazy things, and she was like, yeah, I saw it too. Or, yeah, there is something in that room, but it's just nothing she'd want to like jump out and tell the world, hey, I could see spirits too, or I have the sixth sense or whatever.
Right.
So it
So,
was more kind of me just sharing it with the world and her kind of hiding it away.
oh, that I definitely see that a lot in the world. That it's one of the questions I love to ask because I feel like that if we support our kids and support other people, that it really helps our gifts grow. Because so many
Right.
people out there before we had paranormal shows had no support. They're just thinking I'm strange, or what if we
Yeah.
dismiss it as mental illness back in the day? You're like, I see dead people, and they're like, oh, here,
Oh my
take this
gosh.
medicine.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right.
Or they'd send them off to like, psych wards for it.
Exactly.
Like
So
back in the
imagine
day, oh
how
my
many,
gosh.
yeah, how many gifted people were locked away and their gifts were stifled. Like,
And
can you
I
imagine?
honestly think about a lot. I think about that a lot, like a lot, a lot. I couldn't even imagine. So I just want people to know, share your gift with the world when you're ready. It makes you feel a lot better, honestly. And to know when I did just start sharing this just for kind of fun, it ended up being like a helping others situation and just helping others and teaching others about the other side.
Absolutely. Because there's so many questions we have out there. So we all have to keep exploring. That's something I found on
Oh,
my journey as well.
yes.
I'm learning. So that's why I have you here. You're
Yeah.
here to educate too. I love for people to teach me something. What was something that you
Yeah.
learned along your journey while you were investigating the paranormal? What is something that's incredible, like an epiphany, like I learned this and I've got to share it with the world?
Um, you can almost trust the dead more than the living. I know that sounds strange. I would feel alone a lot, and when I would feel alone growing up, I felt like I had more spirits come towards me. And honestly, listen, like I would talk to them, and I would feel like better, and I didn't feel like they were going to go gossip. You know what I
Right.
mean? That was
Or
just
if they
like,
did, we
wow,
don't hear it.
I right. It's like I have a friend in the, an otherworldly thing. And also another little thing, it's not as positive as be careful. Not all spirits are good. Like
Right.
I know that sounds like, obviously Haley, but there's also like, yeah, there's also sometimes where they pretend they are the good spirits and get you to do things and whatnot, but they have bad intentions
For
otherwise.
sure. It's kind of
Yeah.
like there's good people, there's bad people. So if there are good spirits, there's bad spirits. It's always hard to kind of learn in between. I feel like that the since the veil is so thin for you being gifted, that you're learning more, you're easier to, let's say, when they get close to you, you can kind of feel if they're good or bad. Is that true?
Oh yes, I've learned the hard way in some situations.
Oh
Absolutely.
no. You got to
Especially,
tell me how.
during oh man, during like my paranormal investigations, I would feel like I was being approached by a child. Because that usually happens a lot. I used to teach at school in pre-K, and kids are always
Oh
drawn
wow.
to me. Also being a party princess,
Yeah.
kids were always drawn to me, and also the spirit children are drawn to me just as well. But I've had experiences where they'll come to me as that, but they're very, it's an evil entity basically approaching
Oh
me, making me think, oh, hey, and giving into it
man.
and trying to interact with it more when it's not a child, it's something
Right.
evil.
Definitely.
So
I've
that's,
heard of that. I've heard that they
Yeah.
can come in as grandma or grandpa, and because people have said that to me, they're like, "You're not talking to a spirit; it's probably a demon or entity." And I go, "I have no way to know for sure." And it's like, but
Right.
I get a sense about it, kind of like you do with.
Yeah.
So, do you consider yourself a full blown medium as well?
I do in some sense, and I always say this to everybody I work with or talk to. If I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know.
Right,
If someone's coming to me and be like, "Oh, do you feel my grandmother next to me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, I don't." Like I
right.
want to say yes. I guess I do, make them feel better and stuff, but I'm not about that. So I just let everyone know I tell you what I know,
That is
basically.
amazing. That being honest with what we're in, our credibility is everything. That's why,
Oh,
even
yes.
with our show, even though it is a show for entertainment, we are using the female perspective in the world of the paranormal. That's how I kind of display. And they're like, "Oh, you have to set up cameras." And it's like, no, there's not really scripts per se or anything. We're just trying to showcase a more feminine aspect to the paranormal world. Because I think from what I've encountered, just like women like you, is that more intuitive than a lot of people we've met. Men can be intuitive as well, but women have a
Yeah.
different perspective on it. It's just something I've come across.
I absolutely feel that too. And I love that you're bringing women in it a lot because you do
Thank
see
you.
a lot of, you know, ghost hunting shows and it's a group of men doing it. You
Always.
know, it's where's all the girls doing this stuff?
Right. Or the woman's the accessory. Like they bring in one woman, and I'm like, no, no.
Right.
Why can't we be the main feature? Let's go.
Yes, exactly. Bring in a guy and let's scare him a little bit.
That would be hilarious. If
It
I could
would.
do that, that would be great. The man is the tag along. We could do it now. No, I've worked with
Right.
I've worked with male investigators, female investigators, and I have fun with it all, but I love to be able to bring something new and fresh into it. Hence why, like I said, when I was scrolling through and exploring the paranormal world, finding your channel was so refreshing. I mean, if people aren't
Yes.
subscribed, they need to subscribe to all your stuff because I'm always learning something. Even the stuff that's not paranormal. I love the princess things you do. So cute.
Oh, thank you. I like to switch it up here and there, but I always try to keep that little bit of spookiness in each video.
Yes, I love it. So, do you have more fun? I see you do a lot of the true crime things as well. Do you have more fun doing the true crime or the paranormal, or is it kind of mixed?
I definitely mix it up. I talk about, let's throw the true crime, like let's just throw in the Menendez brothers, their whole true
Yeah.
crime story. Well, I also like to throw in that I went to the Menendez brothers' house in Beverly Hills and I had
Wow.
spiritual encounters with the parents who are still there, the parents who were murdered in the home.
What?
I've had interactions with the father, yes.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Whoa.
so I like to do little stories about stuff like that. I feel like I do love the true crime, but I will always throw that paranormal, side into it. Like, let's just not talk about the people who actually did this true crime to somebody,
Right.
but the spirits who are left behind.
Man. So, without giving away a full episode or anything you're putting out there, can you give us a little taste of what the Menendez brothers' parents had to say, maybe?
Yeah. So they were very observant. I've been to the house a couple times. Of course, you're not allowed in, but you are allowed pretty much, side by side to the house. I
Oh,
got as
wow.
close. I got pretty close. But they're used to it. It was okay.
Yeah.
And so they were very observant. The parents were in the house watching me.
Oh,
The wife was upstairs looking at me from a window, and the husband was at the door.
wow.
And the first time I went there, I felt very like I was unwelcome there. Like they
Ooh,
did not want me there. They wanted me to leave. And it's almost like immediately they knew. I
right.
was able to sense them immediately. And they were like, we want her gone. I felt not good. I felt
Ooh,
sick. And I was like, I'm leaving. But then I did get an opportunity to film for a documentary. So
wow. That's epic.
yeah, hopefully it'll be out next month sometime. Fingers crossed. So
Yes.
I can't go too much into detail of that, even though I
Right.
want to, but it was
Right.
really cool. We got permission to be on the outside, really close to the house. And I had the most craziest, it was almost like they remembered me this time.
Whoa.
And It
Oh my
was
gosh.
a light switch. They were very
Right.
welcoming and like, hey, we remember you. And I will say this because it's okay.
Right.
I actually saw the father standing at the front door, almost welcoming me into the home with this biggest mass ball of light. Like it was like, you know, how, oh, you see orbs and it's see through. It was not see through. It was a
Ooh.
big ball of light kind of circulating the front door, like, come on in type deal. I wish I could have, not gonna lie, but
Wow.
it took me by I know I do this stuff for a living, but even sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I literally just saw that.
No
I was
kidding.
grabbing my friend's shoulder and shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you see this right now? Like, look
Oh,
at the door. No one else could see it, but it was the most incredible moment because I felt like, wow, I just made a real good connection with someone who's in like one of the biggest true crime things in Beverly Hills.
no
So
kidding.
it was
No, that
a
is
interesting
exciting.
moment.
So when is
Even
that going
talking
to be
about it.
released?
Ooh,
We got to know when that's
um,
released. We're going to be on pins and needles till that comes out so we can see the whole thing.
yes, hopefully next month, and I'll give you more details if you want to share about it later. I've been kind of like I feel like I've been bugging him about it because I'm like I'm ready to see this because
Right?
they're even from what I've been told that one of the brothers is going to be getting interviewed as well in that same um
Oh,
documentary that I'm going to be in. Basically, he's going to be in it too, and everyone's going to want to see
that's
his words.
incredible.
So
Oh, that's so
yeah.
exciting. Yes, we're going to be cheering you on. We're going to be watching. Oh, that's
Thank you.
exciting. That's incredible that they went from the distrust to welcoming you like a switch. That's just,
Yeah,
I think they
it
knew your
did.
intention.
I think so too. And I was honestly surprised, not gonna lie, but it was almost like a sweet, surreal moment because of just how awful I felt the last time. I was
Yeah.
even hesitant to come back, but
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I can't miss it. Let's do it.
I think that's why they do that sometimes. People will get the feeling that I'm not wanted here, or especially medium psychics or empaths will start to feel ill going into places where they're not welcome. So that's a lot of times
Yes.
why we go ahead of time to investigate something before actually bringing in the entire team. We bring in the paranormal ladies and we bring in the models, and I usually go in first because if I'm feeling really terrible or bad, I need to
Yeah.
find out what's good, what's not good, where we can go, where not to go. So how do
Right.
you decide what is a good place to investigate for you?
It's almost an immediate feeling. Um, I will just, I don't know. I feel like places and trust come to mind. Like I feel like when I was in LA, just randomly in LA at one point, I was like, I want to go to the Queen Mary. Like it just kind of like hit me so
Nice.
hard. And it's something I just kind of never even thought about too much. But I immediately wanted to go do that. And it was as soon as I pretty much am there, I can be like, this is good or this is bad. You know,
Right.
I know how this is going to go. But it was very welcoming as soon as I got there, and I felt like there was just so many spirits around that area that
Oh
they
yeah.
all wanted a one-on-one interview with me. Like they all were trying to come up to me, but all at once. But they wanted their turn to kind of just tell me things.
Right.
And unfortunately, the time I did go, it was not open to the public. It was
Oh,
shortly after COVID and stuff, but I got as close up as to the doors as I could.
right.
The people let me because they were kind of like security guards and they were kind of letting me get through a little bit.
Oh,
But I was like, man, I just wish I can go in further and really get to talk to the spirits that might be here and stuff like that. So
so you had like ghost
it's
paparazzi. they
yeah,
they
pretty
were like,
much.
Haley, Haley, Haley. They're like, talk to me, talk to
That's
me,
how I
talk to me.
felt. Like I was like giving out interviews. Like I think they
Oh,
just wanted
neat.
which makes me happy now because they are letting people in and do investigations. And maybe a lot of them just have so much to say, and it's going to be better for them with all these psychics and being able to go in there and get some, they need to get things off their chest to them, I think.
Oh yeah, because if they're trying to talk to you, they've got things they want to say. Have you ever had anything from an investigation follow you back to your home?
Yes.
Ah,
It was at the Cecil Hotel.
Oh man.
Yes, it was the spirit of a man, and we tried to leave. I had to get to the airport. That was the last stop of the day.
Right.
Go in there for a little bit, and we set the GPS, and the spirit of a man kept coming through to me, and he kept directing us back to the hotel. Like our GPS would change from going to the airport. It would turn us around and take us right back into the front of the Cecil, no matter how
So
much
like the
I
ghosts are
tried.
using GPS now. Oh man.
Like
That's
just
who's been
completely
texting on my phone. I knew it. I thought it was the
right.
Apple updates, and apparently it's the ghosts at the Cecil. I knew it.
And that was like the first time anything like that has ever happened to me, where they were just like completely redirecting using a GPS. It was strange. He followed me as close as pretty much to the airport, and I felt him with me still. And I kind of was like, I do little things after. I'm sure like any
Right.
paranormal team will do or whatever. Just kind of cleansing myself and saying, go back to where you need to be and stuff like that. And he left quickly,
Oh, good.
but for him to follow me that far, it was kind of like, wow, I wish I could have stayed longer and tried to help as much as I could, pretty
Right.
much.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you carry sage with you everywhere, or what do you use to do your little rituals so some of us can learn from that?
I am more of, I keep a little bit of holy water
Mm.
with me, and I'm a crystals girl too.
Very nice.
But I try not to focus on, of course, the healing crystals, yes, the positive ones, but I just grab a handful of them without looking almost before investigations. And I feel like the ones I grabbed are the ones that are supposed to, like, those were the ones that were supposed to protect me without me
Right.
going, hey, I need this one for this one for this. I kind of let my guidance be like, these are the ones I will need for this
Me too.
investigation and stuff. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I walk through the store and I people, at least they don't look at me like I'm strange. I'm using my hand, I close my eyes and I'm drawn to where I need to be. So
Yeah,
at least I'm not the
drawn.
only one that does that.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like I'm among like minds, so that makes me feel better. So a lot of
Yes.
times we don't know what's normal, abnormal, hence why we're into the paranormal.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. So he did stop at the airport and went back, but have any crossed
Yes.
that boundary and they've came back to your home, or they usually stop?
I am pretty good about making sure I don't follow. I mean, I don't bring anyone home with me.
Oh, good.
So as far as I know, I think I'm in the clear. I think I've made it sometimes with where they're in the car with me, but
Oh,
yeah. Before I usually get out that car, I'm like, all right, it's time for you to go. Like I try to keep my house pretty safe, a safe spot.
good.
So yeah, I think I do the best I can to keep them not here, especially with my husband being here. I mean, he is a believer,
Right.
but he'd rather not have random Joe sitting at breakfast with us.
I think my husband's the same way. But he's like,
Right.
he is not into the paranormal, as they say, but he believes because he's seen all these things, especially while filming. He's seen things that he goes,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So so my next question will be, what is the most intense investigation you've had? I know that's a big one. There's so many, I'm sure.
It is. There's so many, different places are coming to mind. I think I was at the Indiana State Penitentiary a couple years ago. Yeah, that was a pretty intense one. I was invited with a group of people that were having people come and just get to walk around and do their own investigations while they were there. And I love that because this is the first real one I got to bring my husband on. And we were just exploring, and I felt like this man and woman, almost like a couple, and I felt like they were older, like honestly, 60s, 70s type deal, around that time period, husband and wife type, people were following me and my husband around, like shadowing us. Like the man was following him, the woman was following me. And then out of just nowhere, we were in a room by ourselves and I felt them in there. And next thing I knew, they were running around in circles in the room. And we were like,
that's weird.
Standing in the middle, and we could just hear footsteps as if they just like
Oh,
got excited. I don't know what it was, but they were running from room to room and
what?
things were being flown off the shelf. And that's what's weird. I'm like, yeah, these people in their late 60s, 70s, like out of nowhere took off, running around, knocking things.
Wow.
And then my husband made a point. He was like, what if this was their room? Like,
Oh,
what if
there
they
you go.
guided us here? Maybe they want to tell us more in here. This is where they died. This is where this is where that happened. I was like, wow, look at you go.
Right?
You're like making connections now.
Nice.
So them guiding us there, but the running around is like a sound I will never forget because it sounded like, kids in an elementary school gym or something running back and forth playing.
Whoa.
So they were super active. Yes, we had the cat balls we like to use in there, and they were rolling around all over the floors. And
Oh man, that
um,
must have been powerful.
it really was. There was a lot of random incidences that happened there. Um, just like I did bring that Boo Buddy bear. Have you seen those?
Oh
Where
yes, I have a
if you
miniature one.
okay, yes. So you're familiar that if they're touched, they light up and they talk and all things like
Right.
that. It was thrown across the room in a different room that we
Oh,
were, yeah. So let's forget to throw that in
whoa.
there.
Wow.
I honestly was more concerned about that, like $300 or $400 bear breaking than, oh my
Right.
gosh, someone just threw this across the room.
Right. You can't send them a bill. They don't pay it.
Right. Yes. So that kind of like scared us a little bit. And then we just started feeling a lot of children, um, a lot of kids there. Yeah, grabbing at my pant legs. Like I felt like latching onto my legs, like they were circling my legs, holding
Oh
on
my
to me.
goodness.
Yeah, and then I also was thinking, were they fighting over this bear? Were they like yanking it from one
Oh,
another? And
they could have been. You have to teach them sharing is caring.
right. But they also did have a room that was like full of dolls. Who knows if any were haunted or just toys in general, little trikes and dolls and little like balls and stuff like that. So I was like, there definitely has to be some sort of children here because, all these toys.
Right.
So,
And they're
but
drawn to
that
you.
one, right. So I just felt like I had almost an experience in each room I went into, even if it was a little experience, but I would definitely want to go back there.
Oh man. So what did your husband think since he is not as intuitive as you and he can hear the footsteps? Was he totally freaking out?
He was, and it's so funny because he wasn't sure if he even wanted to go. But then as soon as
Right.
we got there, he actually, it's like someone turned the light switch on him. He was so like,
Oh,
let's go
cool.
here and do this. And it was great to see. But he was a little freaked out, and he was also concerned about us being followed home
Right.
by whatever spirits. But I felt like he was trying to stay longer than I was. I'm like,
Oh my
okay, I'm tired.
goodness.
I feel so drained. Like I feel like I can't do it anymore. But he was like, oh, we just have these last couple rooms to go into. So
Man, that's
yeah,
so cool. But at least he's embracing of it though, because a lot of people would have
definitely.
ran out of there and would have been gone, hightailed it. I know so many people, even professionals I have seen
Oh yeah,
hightail it. And I go, what did you think you were going to find? Nothing. I mean, there's something.
right.
Oh
I did
man.
expect that from him, but I think since I was next to him, he wasn't as scared or hesitant to run out the room.
Right. He had to be pretty manly. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
not running now. Maybe if he was by himself, he would have.
Oh yes, I
Yes,
probably would have too. Not gonna lie.
right. That is so cool. So you said that you like to use the cat balls. What else do you like to use when you're doing your investigations?
I like to bring actually haunted dolls because I feel like they're a really good paranormal investigation tool to have because they're a connection to the spiritual side. Whatever spirit is latched onto this haunted doll is familiar with me and can possibly bring other spirits, you know, to me and are
Yeah.
willing to speak. It's like a comfortable barrier, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm very much attached to my dowsing rods.
Very nice.
I use them a lot in my videos. I mean, yes, there's the yes and no questions we all love,
Mhm.
but there's also like, where are you standing at in the room? And I could just go straight pointing over to, where they're standing. I love that.
That's
And
neat.
yes. And I do love to use spirit boxes for the most part. I mean,
Right.
I feel like I don't have the best luck with them, but when you do, it's the best feeling.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Since the beginning, I think cat balls were my favorite, and then I
Yeah.
didn't something so simple. I couldn't work a cat ball because at 3 a.m. I had pushed the button, turned it off and on, so it was off, and I'm going, please play with the cat ball. I'm like, oh, come
Yeah.
on. And we were talking about editing that out of the show. I said, no, put that in because so many people, even using the simplest tools, may be making the same mistakes as me. And it's like,
Yeah.
I want to showcase that. And especially that's why I wanted to know what tools that you use as well. Like the Boo Bears are very popular, very popular.
Oh, yes.
And it's
They're
weird before you mentioned it, I had saw your Boo Bear go flying and then you said it went flying and I was like, well, that's confirmation right there.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yes, I really love bringing them, especially because a lot of people don't have them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know how I think I saved for one. I don't know if they're still like $300,
Oh
but I
man.
was like, oh, there's so many other things I could get, even an investigation tool wise, but I just want this
Right.
bear because I hoping to connect with more spirits of children like I usually do, and they
Yeah.
would love this and interact with it. But it's always like when I'm going to random investigations, a lot of people are like, wow, what is that? Like,
Oh, I
that's
love
really
it.
cool. So I love to share about that.
Do you have the music box one? Have you ever used that before where it plays the creepy sounding music?
I have been on investigations where they've had that, and that's definitely something I'd like to add to my collection. I love that.
Me too. We have a girl on our team
Yes.
that has one that we used it for our Yorktown investigation. And let me tell you, when no one's near it and that thing starts going ding, 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 it's like, oh, I'm having like Jack in the Box flashbacks waiting
Oh
for
my
something to
gosh,
pop up.
yes. Yes. I
Oh,
mean,
I
even
love
just
it.
the sound like in a dark room, that's chilling.
Yes, I think that they knew what they were doing when they made that. They knew that that was going to be creepy and that was going to be good for us to use that. They knew.
They did.
So you've used the Boo Bear, you like the spirit boxes, which I love as well, the cat balls. What are your views on Ouija boards? Because it's so controversial in the paranormal world. So I want to know what are your personal views on that?
Well, I actually grew up with my mom being like, don't use those. It can bring the devil into the house. And so
Right.
for the longest time, I had a fear of them.
Mhm.
Um, so it took me to be an adult to be like, you know what? I want some. Like I want to start a collection. So I started like a Ouija board collection.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I have like the world's smallest one. I even have one that's pink, and I
What?
have vintage ones that light up, like all kinds of, yeah.
Oh my, I have to
Um,
see the world's smallest ones. Like, how do you
oh
use
my
the smallest
gosh.
one?
I'm like trying to figure out where I have it. It's so cute. It's from the world's tiniest toys. They make them,
Oh,
and
neat.
that you can even a little area for the planchette, that tiniest planchette ever. Um, but I feel like I don't really use them, but I love the look of them and their you know, spiritualness of them.
Right.
But I just don't really play with them. But
Yeah,
I'll
me
I'll
either.
continue to collect them for sure. Yeah.
Right. Me either. I'm like, just to be safe.
Right. And
That's
sometimes I
amazing.
don't know. I don't know if I feel like they're like super evil. And I'm sure a lot of people have had experiences with them. I just don't know if I don't know, believe in it too much, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe if I actually tried it more and
Right.
got my own sense, but I feel like somebody has to be pushing that thing, like
Right.
subconsciously, or because one of the rules, never play alone.
Oh God, could you imagine? Oh man, they had a place in Austin that we did a podcast over with. Supposedly that a girl was playing with it alone, and that's what made everything start happening in her dorm room. Like the drawers
Oh,
opening and closing, and then
yeah.
she had taken herself off the grid. If that's it's like how do we say this safely,
Oh,
honey? It's
yeah.
like off the grid after using that. So I don't know if that maybe she was, if it influenced her or what, because it's controversial. They say that anything can be a conduit, such as dog
Yeah.
or using the ovulus or using the boo bear, using different things. So I wonder where the issues come in with why was the Ouija board taboo?
Right. I totally feel that. Yes. I love them. Maybe one day I'll get into that a little bit more, but
For
for
sure.
right now, I'll just stick to collecting them for fun.
Right. I always say like the devil like showed up and goes, oh, doll, never. Ouija board, I'm there. It's like, like
Yeah.
really? He's like, I'm so powerful, but I couldn't show up until I saw that. It's like, good to go.
Right.
But I'm like you, it's like I'm skeptical of those too, but at the same time, I'm going, just to be safe, we're gonna not have this.
Yes. Totally feel that.
Definitely. So one of my questions is, what was your opinion on the portrayal of the paranormal in the media? So you've seen ghost shows, you've seen ghost podcasts. So how do you feel? Are we negatively portrayed, or do you think it's right on the money?
I feel like it's a little bit negative towards us. But of course, I feel like it's half and half. You get your skeptics and your believers, but
Right.
I feel like the people who don't believe, a lot of them, it scares them to dig too deep into that. So they would rather be like, oh, I don't believe in this, or they don't give it a chance. Like they would give, try not a pickle. Like, oh, yeah, I love pickles. What are you talking about? Just
Yep.
try it. See if anything
Exactly.
connects with you. Then you know what I mean. But I just feel, I don't know. The skeptics come at us 100 times more than ever lately. So that's what's scary. That's why I almost didn't want to share my gifts and everything like that, because I have so much passion and I have so much proof and this and this and this. And even to hear one person be like, yeah, what you're doing isn't real. And it definitely hits a string. And I'm like,
right? You're like,
right.
thanks.
Spend a night with my haunted doll and see how you feel after that. And I literally say that. Take my haunted doll in for a night. Do you know what their response is? No, I don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
but it's not real, right?
Right. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. I always tell them it's like, stay the night at one of our locations. That's all I ask. Because there's so much that I think that we've seen so many people get exposed for faking it out there. And that has been the most heartbreaking thing I've seen, because then I try to go, how do I show that everything is authentic? Because it takes a while to set up cameras. It takes a while to get everybody, ready to be on the show. So that's one thing I've seen is the skeptics are coming in with disbelief, and I have no idea how to show them that this is real without experiencing it themselves.
Right. That's what it all comes down to. They're going to have their own experiences. I feel like I'm talking about my husband a lot, but he was kind of skeptical when I first got with him.
Right.
Not so much like, yeah, right. Nothing rude, just kind of been like, I never experienced that. So I don't know how much that's real.
Right.
It just took him spending the night at my house one night for him to wake me up at 3 a.m. and being like, Haley, like I talk about this in other podcasts because this is something I'll never forget. Just the fear in his voice. That was enough to jolt me awake so quick, because I could tell how scared he was. And he was hearing someone standing in the closet, literally, like he said, it sounds as weird as in horror filmy sound, like it sounds. This is truth. He said it sounded like there was someone standing in the closet with chains and shaking them up and down. He said he was laying just in clacking together, and he said, I've been laying here for the past 10 minutes, like trying not to wake you up and, stuff like that. And as soon as I heard him, say my name to wake me up, I said, don't move. Like, that's just my first thing. I heard it for like 5 seconds and it stopped. And I always say, yeah, the spirits knew I was awake. Whatever spirits have been in that house, they're like, yep, she's awake. We're going to stop with the noises now.
Oh, man. And he's still with you. So he loves you.
Yes. So now he believes way more than he did. He has his own experiences now.
Oh, good. That's I love skeptics, and I especially appreciate them because I want them to debunk things, because if there's something they see that, like, they've caught things that are paranormal that I haven't caught. They'll go, did you see that orb go by? And I go, oh, I didn't see that,
Yeah.
And of course, then the debate begins about orbs or dust.
Right.
Right.
It's a never ending thing. I want
Never
it to be an
ending.
orb, not gonna lie, but then you're like, yeah, it's dust.
Right. Or spiders. Have you ever seen the videos to where it's a spider building a web and they're like, look, it's a ghost. And I'm like, no, no,
Oh
that's
yeah.
the itsy bitsy spider. I'm sorry.
Right. Yes.
Oh man. So what is one of the like you've had so many cool experiences. So I want to ask you what your coolest one was, but I mean, how do you top the Menendez brothers? I mean, that sounds like
Right. Oh, I can.
oh, you can. Oh, I gotta hear this.
Yes. This is
Bring it
my
on.
favorite. Yes. I had an experience at the house Marilyn Monroe died in.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I will say, of course, I didn't go knocking on the front door. It was right outside the gates of her home. I mean, I was touching the whole gate she would put her hand on, where she would stand. I was replicating
Wow.
photos. Oh, she stood like this. I want to get this picture too,
Yeah.
right here. Um, and I did a TikTok video and I was my friend was filming and I just like froze and she got scared and she took her finger off and I was so sad. I'm like, why didn't you get this?
Oh.
I was talking about her at Marilyn Monroe and all this stuff and I felt someone come up to my ears like the softest, most gentlest, kindest thing ever. And I felt my hair twirled. Like I felt
Whoa.
someone about my height. I'm 5'5", and I looked into it. Marilyn Monroe is too, and she's
Wow.
5'5". I just felt my hair twirl, like just so
Oh.
soft. There's no doubt in my mind at all. Like, I've never met her. Obviously, I've never met
Right.
her, but
Now
I
you
knew
have.
it was her. Yes, yes, I knew 100% that was Marilyn Monroe standing there with me as I'm just talking about her life and what she's gave to everybody and the inspiration she is even to this day and all this stuff. And
Oh.
I had that little encounter with her and I know it was her and it was the house that it was her. I guess she had many houses, but this one
Yeah.
was hers. Like the first one
Oh,
that was
cool.
actually she bought, it was all hers. She loved it. And so I think it was close to her. And of course, the house she passed away in, I feel like
Yeah.
that's still her house. And I mean, I know it was her. So it's like,
Oh,
wow, a Marilyn Monroe spiritual, like that's insane to me, even to this day.
yeah. And she picked you. She twirled your hair.
Yeah,
It's not like she scratched you or pushed you. She was twirling your hair.
right.
Oh,
Yes.
that is
And
so
like I
cool.
said, with that, the most gentlest, calming, and not like the Menendez brothers, get out of here. Like, the
Yeah.
parents, get out of my house. Like she was
Right.
so calm and sweet and just so soft. And I feel like that's who she was. Like, you watch her movies and hear her speak and she's just soft spoken and she's
Oh.
a lady and you just felt like that. You just felt her with you and it was the best feeling. I'll never forget it.
Oh, maybe she was loving that you were doing like a tribute to her, like helping
I
her
hope so.
memory live on.
I hope so. I mean, I shared about it, while I was there. Right after it happened, I was like, I was just touched by Marilyn, then you get the comments like, let her rest in peace and this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
She's already here.
she's here. I'm
Yeah.
not conjuring her up and I'm not
Right.
like next to her grave pounding, where
Yeah.
she's buried, pounding on the doors. I'm very respectful with everything I do. So I'm not disturbing her rest.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I'm still here. Like, I'm not resting right now. And I also go to her where she is buried a lot as well.
Oh, where's she buried?
She's at the Pierce Brothers Cemetery in Los Angeles.
Very
And
cool.
her monument like thing is like in the wall, like she's not in the ground.
Right.
It's beautiful. I actually went there. I think it was like the anniversary of her death or anniversary of her birthday or something like that.
Mhm.
And they had the whole area blocked off with pink velvet rope. And
Oh,
there was
wow.
LA Times and everything. And I actually went there dressed as Marilyn. Next thing I knew, they pulled me behind the ropes and LA Times was taking my pictures.
Whoa.
People were taking pictures with me and people were like, you look like the ghost of her outside of her. I was right next to Marilyn. It was like we had a photo
Whoa.
shoot together.
Wow.
Just
See,
me and
she's
her.
christened you. She's like, not only that's maybe she knew that you came to her graveside too, or was the other
Right.
experience first?
I've been to her grave so
Right.
many more occasions first. So I felt
So
like,
she knew you.
yes, I feel the same. And I felt like we literally had our own little photo shoot together in that moment.
Oh,
And I mean, there was a crowd just around to see her for that anniversary or whatever. And for them just to hold me back behind the ropes, and
that's neat.
I don't know. It was
Because you
just,
had
it was
her
amazing.
vibes. Her spirit was probably with you and you were giving off the Marilyn vibes. I love
Oh, I was
it.
posing like her poses and I was
Oh,
doing all kinds of things, and like it was the best feeling ever.
oh, what an incredible tribute. Like I said, the spirits are definitely connected with you. So they know you're a good person. They know you have good
Yeah.
intentions. You know, they can sense that too. Just as we sense them, I think they can sense
Yeah,
it too.
absolutely.
Very cool. So, have you ever had a spirit that needed your help? Like, what kind of process do you go through if they need your help?
Yes, I have on a few different occasions. I think I did a story time a while ago. I was actually at my dentist when I had the spirit of, I believe, I feel like it was a woman come to me,
Oh, wow.
and and it was a really older spirit and almost recent. And there was a group of people in front of me, like an older man, older gentleman, and then like an older daughter and stuff like that. And she said, please tell him it's in my pocket in the closet, hallway closet, or
Whoa,
something. Like, it's been so long, but I did make a story about it.
that's
And I'm like,
specific.
oh God. Yes, it was very specific, like kind of in short terms, like in the hallway closet in my green coat, just like quick to the point, like green closet, you know. I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's just crazy to think about. It like makes me shake because it was almost a surreal moment because I knew who she wanted me to go to and everything like that. And not all the
Wow.
times I will. I just knew who she was talking about, and it was her husband. Um,
What?
yeah. So I went to him and I said, I know this sounds weird. And I didn't go into like, I talked to your wife, or, I didn't go
Right.
into any of that. But I said, what you're looking for is in the hallway closet and in your wife's green coat pocket. And
Whoa.
he was almost so, he couldn't even hardly speak. But the lady next to him, which is his daughter and his older daughter, she said that, he just lost his wife, my mom, and
Oh,
we've been looking for the keys to the safe that she has up in the attic, and we haven't been able to find it. There's
whoa.
important papers or money in there for him. And if this is what you're talking about, then I mean, this is the only thing we could think we're looking for. And,
Whoa.
you don't know what this means to us and all that
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. I mean, I never asked for their number or anything.
Oh
I'm hoping that
man.
that's what they were looking for. But even just hearing that, they're like, how did she know this is so, like, we've been searching the house, going through everything we can, trying to find this one particular item. And I pray that's what they were,
Right.
it helped them out. But
So for any
that
doubters,
man didn't
that's
even hardly
specific.
speak.
For people, I hear that
Yeah,
all
his
the
mouth
time. They're like,
just,
how do you know? It's like, a lot of times with people I've met with gifts, it's always specific. It's never generic. Now, sometimes cryptic, you wish they would just give you answers, but then I've almost feel like they're having fun with this. They're like, aha, solve the puzzle.
right, right.
But
And so
that
I
one was
just love it
specific.
when it was, like I said, kind of in blurts, like, not like it was in the closet next to the lamp, and it was just like closet and green
Whoa.
coat and pockets. So I just kind of put it together and was like, here you go. I know I probably sound silly right now,
Oh,
but
man.
I feel like it was almost like an intrusive feeling. If I didn't go do that, something bad would happen. Like, I felt like
Yeah.
I had to say something, even if I sounded stupid. So I just did it.
Right. You're sitting there trying to
So
rinse the
I think about it
fluoride
often.
like this. You're like, ah. And then they're like, and by the way, you're like, can this wait? Can this wait?
Yes, for
Never a
real.
convenient time. But do you ever feel like you were at that spot in that time for that reason?
I do, because I was planning on walking in a lot sooner because I was running late. but then I started getting messages and I was like, oh, I'm already late. I'm just gonna,
Right.
I was meant to be a little late because maybe that spirit couldn't, or they would have been outside waiting, to
Yeah.
leave, like the man, like all these little coincidences. So definitely, yes.
Oh man, that is incredible. I'm so glad you shared that with us. I love
Yeah,
hearing these stories, especially with mediums, because having the confirmation, because you got full confirmation. If only you would have got their number, but it kind of
I
weird. I'm sure
know.
it's kind of
I
weird at that
thought
moment,
about it.
right? Just to figure out
I'm
if
like,
they
yeah, I already
found it,
like freaked you out enough. Now give me your number.
right? That would be neat to know if they
Yeah,
found it though. That would, man, to be there
I
in that
know.
moment.
Right. And I'm just hoping in the back of my mind, oh yeah, they found what they were looking for and they think about me here and there, like, oh, that
Oh,
lady helped us. So that's
I
enough for me, I
I
guess.
love that. That is super, super cool. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you another good question. You have been so gracious with your time. I wondered if you had a message for anybody out there or even women in general who have these paranormal abilities like you've had since you were little, like what they can do to nurture their gifts.
I would say the first thing is first is accept that you do have these gifts. I know you want to probably push them away and be like, oh, I don't really want to take this on. But in the end, it's worth it, because you're not just going to be helping others. This will also do so much for yourself. It will help you in the long run. Just, I feel like it will help everything if you don't just hide it away.
Absolutely.
Help your friends, family, and you. So take that
Right.
chance. It's worth it. And if you ever have tips, if you ever need tips or have questions, never be afraid to reach out to other people who are already doing this,
Very
including
cool.
myself.
Right, exactly. I was going to say, so speaking of which, where can everybody find you? Like, I know that we found each other. I was super excited, but where can everybody find you so that they can get these tips and they can find another resource in their journey?
Yes, I'm very active on my TikTok account and on my Instagram. It's both at Miss Haley Michelle. I spend a lot of time working on new content every day, so it never gets boring.
Oh, never.
And it's a little bit of everything for everyone to enjoy. And those are the two main platforms I go to, and I tend to answer more messages on my Instagram. So if you're ever wanting to book a reading or have questions about your haunted doll, or sometimes I even do sell haunted dolls. Sometimes I built a little bit of a collection, and sometimes I want to let go of some. I'm not going to lie. So if people are ever interested and they're ready to take on that responsibility, I say, hey, send me a message and let's get you a new friend.
Oh, that's so super cool. I love it. You're so positive. Like you are like a beam of light on this show here. Like
Thank you.
it's so nice. Like I said, the media and the portrayal of the paranormal sometimes can be dark because there is a dark side to it, but it's so nice and refreshing to see the bright side of it. You're helping people, you're sharing
Yeah.
like so many bright and positive TikToks. You're encouraging people. You're helping others with gifts. Like, I mean, that is just what I like to see. I want to see some of the positive. I don't want to get so much into the
Thank
dark all the
you.
time. But
Right.
we appreciate that. I want to know, what is the next project besides the Menendez brothers things coming out? Is there anything new coming out soon?
Yes, and I can actually announce this.
Yes.
um, I actually booked as a special guest at the Ed and Lorraine Warren Paracon this year, so I will be meeting all of you guys, and I actually finally get to meet Annabelle.
Oh, of all the haunted dolls, the most.
Right. She's the main. I've met Peggy the Haunted Doll at Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, and that was amazing. But everyone always wants to know about Annabelle, and
They do.
I'm ready. This year is my chance in
Oh
September.
man. Oh, that is so exciting. We get to hear it first. We are so glad you shared that with us. I mean, you are incredible. We are
Thank
following all your
you.
channels. I'm trying to follow you from all my channels so I don't miss anything. I have to subscribe. I want to make sure
Yes.
everyone subscribe to this beautiful paranormal princess here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any last words for anyone else out there?
I do want to say just a little side note. I do have a lot of random accounts. People make fake accounts of myself and they will message people and be like, hey, would you like, I can do this reading for you. When they try to get money from people, I just want to make a little announcement saying, I will never, ever message you first. I will never ask you for money. I will never reach out to you. You come to me if you need something. I'll never reach out to you.
Just the one and only.
Just wanted to throw that out there because I just don't want people being like, hey, this girl's just been asking me for money. Because no, I that wasn't me.
Right. No. And we will make sure that we get all of the accounts that you have, tag them so they go to the right account.
Thank you.
Right, girl.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on for Ghost Hunting Beauties. Thank everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow all of her channels. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all of ours as well, because we are going to keep promoting all these amazing people in the paranormal field. Thank you again so much.
Thank you so much.
When you have some more projects coming in, then we can have a follow-up so we can see what else you got going.
Yes, I would love that. Yes, I would love that.
That is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.